Good evening, my name is Julianne. The purpose of this video is to get beginning clarinet players started on the clarinet. Now we're going to cover a few things that are important when you are beginning a new instrument. In this case, for the clarinet, we're going to talk a bit about assembly, as well as care for your instrument. We're going to talk about embouchure, which is how you hold your mouth when you are playing the instrument. We're also going to cover how you hold your body and position the instrument, as well as breathing techniques and fingering when you are playing. So to start, we'll assemble our instrument. I have here my borrowed clarinet from Long and McQuaid. It's in B flat. Okay, so here it is here. Just aim that down so you can see. So in here I have all the pieces of my clarinet. I've got my bell, I have my upper joint, the lower joint, the mouthpiece, and this is called the ligature here that holds in your reed. That's just the cover for it. So I'm going to start by assembling the instrument. So I'm going to take the lower joint and the upper joint, and I'm going to put them together. So I need to line up the notes on the front. Okay, so here's my upper joint. My light was a little better up here. So here's my upper joint and my lower joint. So I want to line up these three notes right here with the notes on the front of the lower joint. Now sometimes it might be a little bit sticky and you might need to use some balm on the joint, the corks on right around the joint there. Okay, and I put the bell on the bottom. Whoops. Tricky. Okay, and then I'm going to take out my reed and get that ready to put into the mouthpiece. So there's two ways that you can prepare your mouthpiece. The important thing is that it is moist enough to cause there to be a vibration between the wooden mouthpiece, the wooden reed and the mouthpiece. There needs to be moisture, it needs to be wet in order to properly vibrate and make a sound. So you can put it in a small glass of water and get it moist, or you can do it the faster, easier, not necessarily the most hygienic way of moistening it with your mouth. So I'm going to do that here today. While I'm placing it in my mouth, I'm going to undo the ligature here and prepare it to put the reed in. And you do want to be careful when it is in your mouth because it is very delicate. Okay, so the flat side is the side that goes up against the mouthpiece. I think that's moist enough. So I'm going to place that in here. Sometimes it's easier just to take this off. And place that right here. Now you want to line up the reed with the top of the mouthpiece. Now some people would like to have it just a little bit lower so you see sort of that fingernail width of the mouthpiece above. And you can play around to see what works for you, but I like to line it right up at the top. And I hold that in place as I put my ligature back on. Get it nice and tight. You don't want to over tighten it because you still want to have a little bit of space. I don't know if you can see that. in there, in between where the reed is and the mouthpiece, so that you do have that vibration when you blow your breath across it. Okay, so now I'm going to line up my reed with the back of the clarinet. Place that on there. There we go. Okay, so now we have it ready to go. The next thing you want to think about is how we're going to hold our clarinet. Halfway down the back we have this a place, I'm going to call it a thumb rester, to place our finger, and that's really where we're balancing the clarinet. It's sort of in the middle of the clarinet, so it gives us a nice balancing point. And then you have your fingers that are going to be ready to play in place above the notes on the front. So you have your top 3 here and the bottom 3 there that are ready to go. Also on the back you have your thumb note there where you can place your thumb just gently over that. Okay, so physically you are ready here in how you're holding it. Another thing you want to think about is where you're positioning and angling the instrument. So you don't want it to be right close up against your body, then you really won't have any movement at all available in your arms. So you want it to be on an angle out from your body, so about a 45-degree angle. And that will feel comfortable for you as you practice. Okay, so now the next really important part is how you are holding your mouth. That's called the embouchure. So what you do with your mouth is very important. You want to start with a good habit, with a good technique, so that you don't develop a bad habit. So the way you want to hold your mouth for playing the clarinet is you want to have first your bottom lip just right up against your teeth, almost tight up against there, so that you can place your clarinet right on your bottom lip. You don't want it to be under. You don't want this to be rounded. You want this to be quite flat. In fact, you almost want to see this bit of an indent in here. Okay? So that's where the bottom part's going to go. And you're right about halfway, depending on where you have your reed. You're somewhere between a half an inch, a little bit more than a half an inch sometimes, down from the top of the mouthpiece. Okay, so from where your bottom is, then you want to place your teeth on the top of the mouthpiece. You can see it's not really far down, just sort of about a quarter of an inch over. And then you're going to tighten and close your mouth all around the mouthpiece. You want to keep it nice and tight. You can see that there. Okay. Now, with your embouchure, it will take some practice because the muscles in your face will take a while to strengthen and feel comfortable in that position. So it's a good idea just to practice for maybe 10 minutes the first time and then kind of work yourself up as you practice each time, getting a little bit stronger and practicing for a little bit longer. And then hopefully one day you'll be able to play for half an hour or 45 minutes at a time without getting too sore in your muscles in your face. Okay, so now we know how to hold our instrument, how to position it. We want to make sure that we are sitting up straight when we're blowing, because that's the best way to get the most air out of our body. So the next thing after we have got that all figured out is talk a little bit about the breathing technique. So you really want to try to have a strong breath blowing straight through the instrument. A weak breath is going to sound very airy, and you want a strong tone. In order to have a strong tone, you have to have a strong breath. Now today I have a bit of a cold, so and I do have asthma, unfortunately, so this is not the best day for me to do my how-to video in terms of the breathing techniques, but I think you'll get the gist of what I'm trying to do here today. So, as I said, you want to have a strong breath through, and when you're breathing into the instrument, you're making that note, I want you to go like this. Almost like you're saying 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And I like to think about it as spitting out maybe sunflower seeds, although I don't really like those. So maybe more like spitting out watermelon seeds, because you definitely don't like those. You don't want to lose your mouth, so you're going to spit those out. So that's kind of what I envision when I am playing the clarinet. Okay, so let's start out with a C. So a C note is your top 3 notes here, your top 3 fingers down on your clarinet. Okay, so standing up straight, angling your body. Okay, so that was an okay tone. It wasn't as strong as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to try that again. A little airy, but it's better. Okay, so now I'm just going to play one of the classics, Mary Had a Little Lamb, just with using a few notes here. So we're going to do C, D, E. So we have C, D, E, F, I'm just holding the back one, and G. Okay, so C is all 3, including the back note. Then D, 2 on the front, 1 on the back. Then E. F is just holding the back note. And G is no notes being covered. So let's try those 5. That was a pretty good tone. So you can see I really was pushing through and I was saying. And you shouldn't have to take a deep breath there until at least probably a couple phrases, a couple bars. So I'll just play, I'll just do an easy song right now. Easy. Okay, so there we have it. So that's our a little bit about our assembly, how to create an effective embouchure, a few tips on breathing techniques, and your first 5 notes: C, D, E, F, G. Right away you can play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and a whole bunch of hot cross buns, a lot of your simple, easy to start songs. Okay. Alright, so the last thing we want to talk about is taking apart and cleaning your instrument. It's very important that you clean it when you're putting it away. So, I'm going to start by unscrewing the ligature and taking out my mouthpiece. Now it's a good idea to probably rinse this off before you put it away, especially if you use your mouth to moisten it at the beginning. Just going to tighten the ligature back so it doesn't fall off. And then I'm going to just take off the mouthpiece and put that on the side. And then I'm going to take my cleaner. So my cleaner is just a homemade one. It's just a string, and on the end it has a bead attached. On the other end, it's tied to a piece of felt, and then that functions as my cleaner. Pardon. Okay, so now I'm going to take it and just feed it right through to the bottom until it comes out. And then I can just pull it out the bottom. And I just do that a couple times, and that makes sure that most of the saliva that has been getting lodged in your clarinet will come out, will be absorbed by this piece of felt. Okay, and then I'm just going to take it apart carefully and place it back in the case. I'm going to do the mouthpiece as well because that's where it probably gets the most saliva, right in the top there. So I do that separately, and I do it a couple times, making sure that it gets right in there. And then I put back on the lid for my mouthpiece. Keep it safe and keep it sanitized somewhat. All my things back in there. And that's it. So thanks very much for watching my how-to video for beginning clarinet players. I hope that I covered some of the basics for you and that I'm get you started on your exciting journey to play the clarinet. Happy practicing, happy playing. Thanks for listening. Bye.